Let's talk about dailies. The daily event system is a feature in the recent 5.1 update that has gotten the most attention out of the rest, and for good reason. There had been backlash by the community on how it was implemented, and I think it's worth to dedicate a video to talk about them. Now, I've read a lot of posts about what players don't like about the system in both the forums, Discord, and even my own YouTube post that I sent out a couple of days ago. I think it's important to understand that not everyone holds the same opinion, and some people like myself are pretty much content with the increase to 3 tickets per day. And the reason why is because for me personally, this system does not change my behavior because I barely do holodeck, and I only complete the master's level of dailies each day. Now it's made simpler and I'm not losing out as much. Other people who are casual players that have very little time to play each day probably feels the same way. However, I do want to acknowledge those of you who have spent so many hours in this game on a daily basis to grind for those precious Knapi coins. The addition of the daily event tickets have limited your ability to gain these resources. I have indeed read through all of your comments in the post, and I think I have a general idea on why people are upset. I think Guns in the forums goes to a very good detailed post on the amount of coins you lose per week now and why the current system feels bad. First of all, let's talk about the reduction in coins. With the current system in place, you can only get a maximum of about 950,000 coins per week. In the past, if you finish all 4 difficulty levels of dailies, you can get up to 2.6 million coins per week. So there is a net loss of 1.7 million coins for those of you who are massive grinders. I do believe that players who are willing to do the grind should be rewarded, but I think doing all 4 difficulties should not be the norm or optimal way. By design, the difficulties are there to provide players of different levels access to coins and moves. Once you reach a certain point, you should not have or need to go back to the lower difficulty levels. Dailies should be a progressive feature, and this is probably the reason why the devs have implemented a system where you can repeat master dailies multiple times with the tickets. However, with only 3 tickets given per day, this is pretty much impossible. Second of all, holodeck and accursed experiments now cost a ticket. I do agree with a lot of you that these should not have cost any daily event tickets, because the problem with dailies were on the character daily events being too grindy, not these two. So they should be excluded from the ticket system because right now, people have to make a trade-off between XP and coins and moves. This feels really bad because there was no trade-off in the past, so it feels like your freedom to play has been severely limited. And also, resources such as coins and moves are almost always better than XP because they are way more important to build variants. So it feels like holodeck is just not a viable option anymore, even if they have increased the amount of XP gained. Finally, I think part of the reason why people are upset is because daily events is such a huge resource pool for all players, not just for coins but also gold moves. And perhaps this is where the core issue lies. With dailies essentially getting a nerf, there are no better alternatives to remedy the loss of resources. Furthermore, moves in general is a feature that still requires a quality of life update, notably its RNG factors. I think if they have prioritized move updates such as stats augmentation first, the arrival of this new system of daily events would not have upset people as much. I really hope the next patch introduces this final quality of life feature that a lot of people have been asking for years. Now, I have read various different kinds of solutions that people suggested. Out of all the solutions, I want to highlight and share one particular solution that I think works best. All daily events can be played 1 time manually for free without tickets. Skipping will require a ticket, and playing the same daily event for the 2nd and 3rd time will also require a ticket. This way, grinders can play each character master daily twice, one with a ticket and one without. And since each daily event can only be played for free once, this will incentivize grinders to play at the highest level they can. No more going through the other weaker levels at all. This will also allow holodeck and accursed experiments to be enjoyed the same way as previously, where they can be manually played 1 time for free without tickets. If you want to spend your tickets for XP, you can do a second run of holodeck instead. For those of us who are too lazy to play manually, we can simply spend our tickets to skip the dailies once, like how it's currently done now. With this solution, assuming you use all your tickets for replaying Master Dailies and you manually go through each Master Daily once, you will gain an additional 700,000 coins, bringing the number to about 1.6 million coins per week. I hope I calculated that correctly. Feel free to correct me if I didn't. We're still 1 million short of what we usually get, but no more grinding through the lower levels anymore. So how do we close this gap? I think instead of focusing solely on daily events, we should look elsewhere. For example, there are two particular prize fights which come into mind that serves a similar role to daily events. Daily events are played to provide coins and moves of a particular character. The Medici prize fight focuses on coins, while the Show Me Your Moves prize fight focuses on gold moves and blockbusters. However, these two prize fights have not had an update in such a long time. Heck, the Move prize fight still has a Silver Fighter restriction. I believe these two prize fights are in due for a major update to increase economy and resources in this game now that daily events have a capped limit. So I just want to share some general ideas on how to update them. This is just straight from the top of my head, so take it with a grain of salt. For Medici prize fights, I'm thinking we can remove event rewards and have huge milestone rewards instead, up to 100 million. For every 10 million you pass, you get massive amounts of coins. Grinders can grind all the way up to 100 million in a day if they want, while the rest of us can simply earn just as much as we have time for. Alright, 100 million might be too much, but numbers can always be tweaked. Perhaps 50 million or 30 million would be better. Removing event rewards also remove ambiguity with the coins earned, similar to how current character prize fights have variance in the milestone rewards instead. For move prize fights, firstly, let's remove that Silver Fighter restriction so every variant can play at different levels. Next, we can have gold blockbusters and special moves given out once every 10 streak or so. Since the goal is to be a place to grind for specific moves, perhaps the prize fight can be set so that the moves and blockbusters you get depends on the character you use to win the particular fight. For example, if you use a team of 3 Parasouls, you'll have a 100% chance to get a Parasoul move or blockbuster. If you use a team of 2 Parasouls and 1 Robo Fortune, you'll have a 66% chance to get a Parasoul move and blockbuster, and a 33% chance to get a Robo Fortune move and blockbuster. This removes the pressure on daily events to be a reliable source of character moves and provides a way for grinders to grind for what they need and want. I'm pretty sure there are other ideas to make these two prize fights stand out and be a useful source of resources. To end it, I just want to say that I do like the direction of the daily system update. It is not perfect and may require some future tweaks. I'm sure we'll get them soon, or at least in the next patch. Hopefully the solution that the devs come up with will satisfy the majority and everyone can move on and be excited for the next content instead of hyper-focusing on dailies again. That is all for me now. I just wanted to raise the issue. In the comments below, I've linked some suggestions made by others in the forums and Twitter and so forth that I think were worth reading. And if you want to participate in this discussion, then feel free to make an account in the forums, because that is the best place where developers will read your comments. Hope you all have a nice day, and I'll see you in the next video.